2023, Levi Strauss & Company celebrates the 150th anniversary of the 501 gene, the first modern blue gene. And to celebrate during Women's History Month, we're focusing on a woman who broke barriers, wearing 501s on ranches, on horseback, and when reciting her incredible poetry. The National Cowboy Poetry Gathering is held in Elko, Nevada every year, and it's been happening for dozens of years. This is a place for cowboys and cowgirls to get together to share their skills, and you can also hear cowboy poetry. Georgie Sicking is one of the most well-regarded poets from the National Cowboy Poetry Gathering. She was born on May 20th, 501 Day, which is pretty remarkable because she became a well-known cowgirl who always wore 501s.
I grew up with horses. And with a mother that let us reach, that didn't try to keep us controlled too much. She'd saddle our horses at sunup, and she'd say, well, watch out for rattlesnakes and be in a half an hour before sundown.
By the time she was 9 years old, she had broken her first horse. In one of her books of poetry, she writes about going down to Arizona. She was the only woman on a ranch, so they tested her. And there was a bull. They called out to her that she needed to rope that bull. It pulled her, but she got the bull down. And for the 2 weeks that she continued there on the ranch, they knew she could pull her weight.
When I worked with the cowboys, they respected me because I demanded respect.
We do have a book collection, and one of the pieces that stands out in the collection is this book of poetry called Just More Thinking. It includes some of her wonderful poems and, of course, her description of life as a cowboy. She liked to be called a cowboy. She said, if I did cowboy work, I should be called a cowboy. In 1934, Levi's introduced the first blue jean made specifically for women. It was called Levi's Lot 701, or Lady Levi's, and it was the women's version of a 501. It had a button fly. It was also a heavy-duty denim. But Georgie Sicking chose to wear men's 501s, and she made them her own. One of Georgie's most well-known poems is Be Yourself. In that poem, she describes the criticism that she received mostly by women of her generation who did not wear pants, believed that the only way to get a husband was to curl your hair and wear dresses and be as feminine as you could be. They criticized her, scolded her, saying she would never marry and never have children. Not only did she continue to be a ranch hand and wear whatever she wanted, but she married, she had 3 children, and she even published her poetry.
The title to this poem is Be Yourself. When I was young and foolish, the women said to me, take off those spurs and comb your hair, a lady you would be. Forget about those cowboy ways and come and sit a while, and we will try to clue you in on women's ways and wiles. Take off that Levi jumper, put up those bat-wing shafts, put on a little makeup and we can get a date for you, perhaps. Forget about that roping, that makes calluses on your hands, and you know it takes off fingers if you want to catch a man. Do away with that Stetson hat, 'cause that'll crush your curls, and even a homemade cowboy wouldn't date a straight-haired girl. Now, being young and foolish, I went my merry way. Guess I never wore a dress until my wedding day. And now I tell my children, no matter what you do, stand up straight and tall, be you and only you. For if the Lord had meant us all to be alike, the same rules to keep, he would have banded us together, just like a flock of sheep.
And speaking of the poem, Be Yourself, she talks about items that we have in our archives, like take off your spurs and your cowboy hat so that you don't ruin the curls in your hair. And then she talks about getting rid of the rope or the lasso. These were all the kinds of things that she would have been using when she was on the ranch, including bat wing chaps, which we have in the archives as well, made with leather that'd be worn over the top of your Levi's, but are a great example of the kind of cowboy wear that a working ranch hand would have needed. Women like Georgie really are great role models for younger women today. Role models who encourage even the newest and youngest poets.
She lived the lifestyle and she did it. She wasn't just a woman reciting some man's poetry. She was a woman who lived the lifestyle and wrote cowboy poetry. And so that was really neat to see somebody like me who lived the life and was such an amazing person. Do they want my stuff at all? And then I saw Georgie and I was like, yeah, I do fit in down here. If someone like that's there, then I want to be there too.
Remarkably, Annie's birthday falls on May 20th, 501 Day, just like Georgie Sicking's.
The title of this poem is Let Nature Speak. It's quiet, except for the horses' feet as they scramble through rocks. No one wants to speak, ruin the stillness with idle talk. The going gets steep and treacherous in spots. Not even the kid makes a peep. Only the eagle squawks, indignant as we reach places belonging to them at the top. The dobie gets deep, well past the horses' hocks. Their breath comes in heaves, but they do not waver or stop. Onward through mud and rocks till they reach the peak. Still nobody talks. We listen and let nature speak.
She was born in 1921 and passed away in 2016, but her legacy goes on today to remind and inspire young women to wear Levi's and be themselves while they do it. Thanks for joining me for another episode in the Levi's Archives.